Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's virtual career talks by Mission College Career Services Center. In today's session, we have Monica from San Jose Fire, and then also we have Luis from Smith & Associates.
Hey, welcome,
we're going to ask that you keep your mic and audio off. And then if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and we'll make sure to go to as many questions as we can. So I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that if you guys need to leave early or if something comes up and you're not able to stay this whole session, not to worry. We're going to be recording the session and uploading it to the Career Services Center YouTube channel, and we'll make sure to put that link in the description, as well as we'll be putting links for some of the positions that the employers are talking about, so make sure to check those out as well. I wanted to introduce my co-host, Veronica from Slingshot Connections, if you want to say hi.
Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate our partnership. Slingshot Connections, we are a staffing solutions and workforce agency. So we do assist candidates who are looking for employment and also provide free services as in resume reviews, LinkedIn's, but we are here today to partner with Andrew and assist with anyone putting questions into the chat box, any comments. As Andrew said, as a reminder, please keep cameras and mics off during the sessions, and we will go ahead and get to it.
Thank you so much, Veronica. I wanted to give some quick moment to have the employers, if they want to introduce ourselves, maybe first Monica and then Luis.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us. My name is Monica Alcantar Kirk, and I'm with the San Jose Fire Department, communications, so up in dispatch. And I have been with the fire department now for almost 13 years. And I am a supervising public safety radio dispatcher. So I'm in charge of the training, recruitment, and quality assurance of the city of San Jose's fire and medical 911 emergency calls.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Luis Freitas, and I'm here also with Danny Fan from Smith & Associates. We're in the tech industry. We're a distributor for hardware, electronics, and I'm the general manager for our San Jose region, and we'll talk more about that in a bit.
Wonderful. So two great employers in the area that are hiring. So we're going to go into the first employer's presentation, and then we'll go into the second employer's presentation, and then we're going to do a group Q&A after that. So please make sure you put all of your questions or comments that you have for the employers in the chat box, and we're going to get through as many as we can. Make sure that they're appropriate and make sure that they're on point. Okay, so without further ado, I'll let the employers take it away.
All right, so I'll start here. Share my screen. Can you guys see it okay? Thumbs up.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, so just a little bit more about Smith. Like I mentioned, we're a distributor for electronic components. Anything that goes into a cell phone or a computer or any electronic device, we sell that on a world kind of like a worldwide scale. We do the sourcing, we handle the operations, and we do different types of supply chain services to our customers. This next slide here just helps illustrate a little bit who are our customers. So our customer base goes anywhere from cloud computing, consumer electronics, medical devices, automotive, aerospace and defense. So literally anything that is an electronic device that has what's called a PCB board, which is a green board full of components or semiconductors. That's what we sell on a daily basis. Here, the next slide illustrates our actual products. So anything from microcontrollers to different types of ICs, which are integrated circuits, to memory devices, processors, hard drives, all these components that you can think of that goes inside a computer or a laptop or a server. And all the smaller ones, which we usually call them ICs or passives as well. This one is just to help illustrate a little bit. I know it can be a little overwhelming, the product base there. And Next one is just illustrating our global footprint. So Smith is we're a $1.5 billion distributor of electronic components operating worldwide. We have employees that speak over 50 languages. We have 16 global offices, as you guys can see here on the screen. The ones with the red dots are Houston, Amsterdam, and Hong Kong. That's actually where we have full operation and warehouse and testing and quality control labs capabilities. So it's usually where we hire more for operations, testing, and those type of roles. The other offices are our sales offices, remote sales offices. In our case, Silicon Valley, we're in San Jose. We're close to Bay, the Bay 101, that like the 101 freeway and the casino area. So very close to the airport. And here, you know, we're primarily looking to expand our sales office and also like our purchasing team. And feel free, I forgot to mention in the beginning, Danny is, you know, can help through the chat there. If you guys have any questions as I'm presenting, he'll be helping answer that as well, or any additional information or any links you need, he can help with that as well. So, you know, top reasons, you know, to work at Smith, you know, we're a global company, but still privately owned. So we have a little bit around like 500 employees worldwide. So it still feels like a, you know, a family, you know, not just like a number to a corporate, you know, corporation. We do a lot of events throughout the year to bring people together. One of the main things about Smith is an entrepreneurship mindset. You know, you may come in within a certain role, but we keep it, you know, an open mind to identify, you know, talented employees that are trying to, you know, figure out how to grow our business and how we can, you know, gain even more market share on what we have. So that entrepreneur or growth mindset, something we value a lot. It's a very casual type of work environment, you know, because it's a lot of times we're inside. If we're looking for salespeople, it's inside sales for the most part. So unless we have a customer visit or like a vendor or customer visiting us, we don't really require, you know, like professional business attire, and a lot of opportunities for growth. So a little bit more, you know, our internal growth and development and mentorship and training, just so you guys know, primarily for this office, like I mentioned, we're looking for, you know, sales development reps or inside reps, which they're international account representatives. Anyone that we bring in, they go through our Smith University training platform. It's a standardized global platform that we use for new hires. And your first probably 2 weeks to first month, you would train through that platform and also with a mentor that will be helping you. Obviously, you're going to have a daily international exposure because of where our offices are located. So you're going to be dealing with your colleagues worldwide as well. And yeah, that is pretty much a lot of mentorship and help internally for that growth. And this Smith University platform is something we built about 2 to 3 years ago, just to standardize our testing for each location versus, you know, if you were started in Houston instead of Austin or New York, they were having, you know, obviously we had a manual for training, but now everything is in an online platform. And you know, we call it kind of a leadership, like kind of more of like a development platform and versus training, because you have access to that platform at all times. So let's say you're trying to do a sales course, you know, learn a little bit more about how to pitch in our industry, or you're trying to learn a little bit more about electronic components. If you forget, you know, if you didn't retain everything, it's fine, because that platform is always available to you as a learning opportunity. So it's Smith in California. You know, we've actually been in California since 2000. We used to be in Pleasanton. About 2-3 years ago, we relocated to San Jose, and we're really looking, you know, to grow our local office here. Obviously, a lot of tech companies in the Bay Area, a lot of hardware and software companies. We're more on the hardware side, but a lot of opportunities for growth. And then here's the email, you know, if you'd like to send your resume, it's immersion@nfsmith.com. Our website's smithweb.com. And any questions? Yeah, just feel free to send them over the chat there.
Awesome. Thank you, Luis. I also put your guys' link to your guys' employment opportunities website. It was given to me by Danny Fan, your colleague.
Awesome.
So we put that in there. So again, we'll make sure that when we record this video, and then we're going to upload it to YouTube, we'll make sure to put that in the description. So candidates, if you didn't get it, let me know in the chat, and I'll make sure keep adding it if you guys need it throughout the session. But also, so you know, we'll put it in the description of the YouTube channel. Okay. Anything else that you wanted to add, Luis?
No, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
All right. Awesome. Now we're going to turn it over to Monica, and she represents SJ Fire.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andrew. I'm going to go ahead and get my screen set up here so I can share it with everyone. So you'll see it for just a moment. All right. So I did want to thank everyone for coming here today and having us here to share a little bit about the San Jose Fire Department. And I do have a quick 2-minute video to show you. And then I want to explain a little bit more because not everyone really knows what dispatchers do. And we just produced this little video to give people an insight. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started here now for you.
You're doing a working fire coming out of a window of a single story campsite house. It'll be the Bravo side window. You do have people evacuating exit, and you have a hydrant in front of you.
We are the first responders. We're the people that are going to be there for the citizens, for our community, before the fire department can get there. There's going to be this moment where they're getting ready, they're getting on their rigs, and they're going to the event. And in that time, if there wasn't dispatch, those callers would be all by themselves.
They are the first to respond out of all first responders. Without dispatch, you don't know who, what, where, when, or why. Dispatch is arguably the most important part of the 911 system.
We are the people that tell them where to go. We are the people that calm you down on the phone so that you can tell me your address. I can't count how many calls we get in a week span where somebody calls and says, I don't know where I am, but I need help. It's up to us to figure out where you are and to get you that help. So the fire department, the medical don't arrive until we tell them where to go. And we're there giving you instructions on how to manage the situation until they arrive.
Okay, I am sending the paramedics to help you now. Stand the line, I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay.
If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now in case we need it later. Helping people is probably the most rewarding part of this. Going through childbirth calls are one of the most amazing things because you're one of the people that hear their cry for the first time, and you're also the one that's helping guide them because at that moment they're scared, they don't know what to do. You're the one that's staying strong for them and helping them stay strong for their loved ones or themselves.
Ultimately, I am sending highly qualified professionals to go take over. I'm handing it over to them. It's very rewarding to know that even on a person's worst day, you did help them to make their life better after the fact.
Otherwise, we do have occupants in the driveway stating at this time that everybody is out of the house. We're having occupants saying that all occupants are out of the house.
Okay, so that was a little snippet into a little bit of a day in the life of a dispatcher. You saw them in a room taking 911 calls and dispatching. You heard a little bit on the radio. So there's a couple different elements to being a dispatcher. And what I want to first mention is when most people grow up or think of a career, they don't necessarily think about becoming a 911 dispatcher. It's not the face of the public safety system. It's very much behind the scenes. And if you're someone that wants to help people and help your community and be a part of that public safety circle, dispatch is an avenue that most people don't think of that is a really rewarding career and very integral part of the 911 system. This picture you see in front of you here that I'm sharing is a picture of our communications center. And you can see there's lots of different computer screens and different types of desks where we can sit down or stand up. We even have little elliptical exercise type items that you can go ahead and utilize because we are in a room, and if you can see there's no windows and you are tethered with a headset to your position because you're there and ready waiting to help for everyone in our community to answer the 911 call or dispatch the first responders. Now, the title that we're hiring for is a public safety radio dispatcher trainee. We call it a PSRD. And what we do is we process emergency fire and medical calls. So what that means by processing calls is we could be giving someone CPR instructions over the phone. They've called because someone is unconscious and not breathing, and we need to walk them through that period of time where they've called 911 and the responders are en route and on the way to go and help them. That important, vital piece of time is where the dispatcher can make all the difference. And we can give those life-saving instructions. We can also give people instructions about being trapped in a burning building and the best way to survive or to escape out of that type of situation. At the same time, our partners in the room are dispatching the units. They're the ones talking on the radio. And what they mean is that channel where you see those firefighters out and they're talking into their shoulder on their piece of equipment. That radio, the dispatcher is very integral with as well. They're the ones giving them the information via that radio and details as a call is progressing and giving them updated information from their partner taking that phone call. And we're also essential workers. We've been working throughout this entire COVID-19 period and coming into work because 911 doesn't close. You'll see the firefighters out there, you see other public safety entities out there, and we are one of the essential workers. Also, this past year, we had an assembly bill signed, and starting January 1st, dispatchers are also now going to be classified in the first responder category, and that's pretty exciting for us. Now, the minimum qualifications in order to become one of our trainees and get into our hiring process is completion of high school, GED or equivalent. Also, 3 years of customer contact experience. That can be a barista at a cafe. That could be a waiter or waitress experience. That could be working at a fast food restaurant. What we want is customer service that's dealing with all different types of walks of life, because that's what we have call on the phone for someone in need. We don't know who's going to be on the other end of that phone. It could be a child, it could be an elderly person, it could be someone that doesn't have English as their first language, someone who's under the influence, hysterical, angry. We need people that can deal with all those different kinds or have had experience with dealing with all those different kinds of people. Also, if you've had 1 year of experience receiving, processing, or dispatching calls in a radio dispatcher call center environment. So if you're already a dispatcher at another agency, or you've done this type of work with call answering or dispatching, we would need 1 year of experience for you to qualify for that minimum qualification. And then you can check out our website, and I know Andrew is going to go ahead and post that up in the chat. It's www.sjfd911.org, and you can find out more information about our desirable qualifications as well as any other minimum qualifications. But the ones you see here are our main ones, and what you'll really notice is they're very minimal. Because what we do is we have a paid training program where we will pay and support all of your certifications to get you through our training program and then promote to a public safety radio dispatcher. Some of the ideal qualities that we are looking for in the dispatcher is obviously going to be multitasking. In that picture you saw, there were lots of screens. And what our dispatchers are doing is they might be talking on the phone, typing something different than what they're talking. They might be saying something different than what they're reading on the screen. There's a lot of multitasking happening. And for a lot of people, that is a big appeal because what you're doing is you're not just utilizing one of your skills, you're utilizing multiple skills that you might have. Also a positive attitude, emotional control, good interpersonal skills, adaptability. Things are changing all the time. You never know what type of call you're going to get or what type of shift you're going to get. And technology is evolving too. So adapting to the new technology, we've implemented text to 911. That was a very new thing for us and technology changing. And this profession is ever evolving and technology is definitely going to take its course with this profession. Now, The salary and benefits. When we hire you on, you are in a trainee position, and that pay or salary while you're in training is that $75,000 figure you see on the screen here. And once you've passed training, then you would go ahead and receive a promotion to that base salary starting at that $83,000 figure up to that $101,000 figure you see there. And that is pretty amazing opportunity for the minimum qualifications that we have, and we pay for the training for you to go through. Upon hire would put you into the training program. So you would have to pass through the hiring process in order to get into our training program. In addition to those figures, we also offer a 5% non-pensionable compensation pay. So you'll actually be taking home 5% in addition to what you see there. The 911 system does not close. We are open 24 hours a day. Someone can call 911 at any time. So we do have dispatchers working, and it is shift work. We have a day shift, midnight shift, and a swing shift. And we do pay shift differential. So in addition to that hourly rate of any of those salaries, you would receive the shift differential that you see there. There's some other perks and salary and benefits that you can see here on the screen, and you can read more about it on our website. But the big item here also is the paid training program that we do have. And our paid training program is pretty amazing. It is very robust and gives you all the tools you need to be successful in this career. You first start off in a classroom environment in an academy, and we will go ahead and go through all your certifications and get you an EMD certification, which is an emergency medical dispatch certification, also an EFD certification, emergency fire dispatch, where you'll learn how to process calls and triage emergencies, fire and medical emergencies over the phone, and learn how to handle different types of calls and work with different types of people over the phone and have that effective communication to be able to walk anyone through an emergency, but also get the information that you need to pass along to the responders. That academy time is about 8 weeks. And then you go into the control room for some on-the-job training, one-on-one with a CTO, a communications training officer. And they will guide you through on-the-job training through different phases until you are all done and can take 911 calls on your own. Now, call taking isn't the only discipline, remember, we also dispatch on the radio. So once you've mastered that, then we would put you through a radio academy and back into the classroom environment, give you a 4-week classroom time to learn about radio dispatching, and then back into the control room for on-the-job training with a training officer until you're fully signed off and can dispatch and fully function as a solo dispatcher call taking and on the radio. That takes about a year. Sometimes we have people finish the program in maybe 10 to 12 months is usually what we see. But then after that year, you receive that promotion to that base salary that I had mentioned in the previous slide. And then you are on probation for 1 year after that, and will continue to get your step raises yearly afterwards until you reach top step. So that's just a quick gist of our training program and our hiring and the requirements. And I am going to stick around and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today and spending their Friday afternoon listening to our presentations. And I will go ahead and stand by for any questions. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Monica. And I wanted to mention, I wanted to thank your department for your service to our community. During these trying times, without these core services, our communities can't be safe. So from the Career Services Center and I'm pretty sure Slingshot, we wanted to thank your department for your guys' service.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so those are 2 great presentations. Keep your questions coming into the comments. But yeah, we're going to go into the group Q&A. Our first question is for Monica. He wanted to ask, what could a prospective candidate do now to get him prepared to be a great dispatcher?
Okay, the first thing would be to go check out our website. We've posted a lot of information on the San Jose Fire Department 911.org website, and It gives you a lot of information specifically about our fire department. And if you've never looked into dispatching before, thought of it as a career, just Google it and find out information about what it entails and what the different stresses behind it also, because you're dealing with emergencies constantly. And on that note, it can be very stressful. And what we do have here also is a critical incident stress management team for the department to help with the mental health of dealing with all of these different types of emergencies. So that's an important factor also to consider. A lot of times we have people who really want to help the community and this job sounds really like something they want to do. And then they hear that first phone call and it's hard and it might not be for everybody. And what you can do is get yourself familiar with those types of things and internally think about how you feel with dealing with those types of emergencies. And check even social media, follow our fire department. And also there's an app called Pulse Point, Pulsepoint. And it's a red shape icon with a heart on it. And what that app is, it's something you can listen to different fire departments, their radio. So you can start versing yourself and becoming familiar with radio traffic for the San Jose Fire Department or any department that participates. But the essence of that app is to be notified when there's a large type of event in your city or in your proximity. So if someone needs CPR, it could alert you if you have that notification on, or if there's a working fire in a structure that's near you, it could alert you, but then you could turn on the radio or audio and listen, and you'd actually hear the dispatchers dispatching and corresponding with the firefighters on scene and hear how that plays out. So even if you just Google it, there are so many things and you can look up different prep, but the biggest thing specific to our department would be check out the website because there's a lot of information on there.
Wow, thank you, Monica. They were asking if we're able to put that app in the chat so they could take a look at it.
Sure, yeah, I'll go ahead and type it out here.
Thank you. While you're doing that, we also have another question from one of our participants. They're asking, is there information when the hiring and interview process will be taking place?
So our application period closes coming up here. So at the end of the day on November 16th at 11:59 p.m. So we'll take it right up until that last minute of the hour. And after that, we would continue more with our hiring process. If you go to our website and hit the apply here link, it will bring you to our city's application page. And on that application page, it lists key dates so that you can see when a selection interview might be or when a testing portion of the hiring process might be. So take a look at the list of dates on there so that you could prepare if you were successful to continue moving on to the next step and make sure you have availability on your calendar.
Awesome. Thank you, Monica. So if you could put that in the chat and I can make sure to copy and paste it. And as we go through the session, if we have people that join in late, we could re-add those links in there if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you so much. So we have a few more questions and these ones are going to be for both employers. I think they're pretty relevant. So what type of assignments are going to be given to new hires in each of your departments? And we haven't heard from Luis a bit, so we'll start with him and then we'll go to Monica after that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And just to make sure I understand it correctly, assignments as in after they're brought on board, right? After they're hired, Andrew? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and for us is that training platform, called Smith University. We have kind of a certain path that we have for the new hire. So because we're in such a specific and niche type of industry, within and even supply chain services, we want to make sure you can understand all the services we do provide to our customers. then understand about our product offering. So you would spend a lot of time on that platform learning and with your mentor as well to clarify any other questions. But that would be most of it, you know, is learning through the Smith University platform. And the reason why it's called Smith University, actually, they built it kind of in a format, you know, to whenever we're hiring, you know, students, anyone who just graduated, they're already familiar, right, with going, you know, kind of that course catalog with their school. So it's very similar format. And then once you've done and you pass some of these courses, there are some activities that you go over with that mentor or manager to make sure you've retained that information. All we're trying to do is just help you prepare to become, you know, a knowledgeable employee.
Thank you, Luis. Monica?
All right, so the type of roles when you initially hire, you'd obviously be in a trainee status, so you'd be in our training program. So it's like going to school. What you would be doing is going through the training program, and you'd be having weekly tests and assessments, and you would have to progress. You'd have to pass those weekly tests and assessments, and then a final at the very end of the academy in order to progress even further into the on-the-job training. So your job at first hire would be to study and put everything into the program so that you can go ahead and keep progressing, because then afterwards you know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to be taking those 911 calls and dispatching those responders on the radio.
Awesome. We had a follow-up question for you, Monica.
Okay.
We had a candidate was asking if they already done its circuit call test.
The critical?
Is that what I didn't say that right.
Okay.
And if they could use those results, or do they have to take it again?
We do not accept critical testing from other agencies or other entities. And the reason for that is because we have our own specific test and our own specific pass and fail thresholds. So as you progress in the process, if you make it to that point, we would invite you to take a critical test, and it would be proctored by us.
Awesome. That's new for me. I didn't know that. And the candidate says thank you. That's very helpful for them. So we're going to go back to both employers now. We'll start with Monica and then go to Luis. What skills are highly desirable from your particular organization?
Highly desirable skills, multitasking is huge, but adaptability and positive attitude is really important, because you're dealing with someone's worst day of their life. That's your everyday. When people call 911, it's not because they're happy, it's because they're scared or upset or in an emergency. And being able to adapt to that and be empathetic and be able to manage that mental part of it, as well as the meat and potatoes part of utilizing the software and the different programs and the technology at the same time, that multitasking piece comes back into play big time. So multitasking, adaptability, and you have to have that social emotional sense as well.
Wonderful. Luis?
Yeah. For us, you know, since we're primarily hiring for some sales positions here in San Jose, there are other roles for other locations. Feel free to check on our website. But for the role, you know, the sales roles, primarily, you know, that self-drive, self-motivation, because, you know, you're trying to build new customers and new customer base. So I'd say that's pretty key. We also definitely, what Monica mentioned there on that positive attitude, obviously it's a very different type of you know, for us, like the way we help out our customers, if they have any supply chain services like or problems, you know, that happens at their factories, we're the ones that they go to whenever they have a problem. So there's also that sense of urgency, you know, when they usually are reaching out to us, they need things as soon as possible. So it's a very fast-paced type of environment in that sense, and you got to stay positive to help our customers' problems as well. But I'd say that self-drive, self-motivation, and grit, that's very important.
So definitely, both employers are saying that maybe a key skill would be customer service and maybe the willingness to learn, right? I hear that time and time again.
Yeah.
What was that, Monica?
Definitely, I 100% agree.
Awesome. And then I wanted to ask a couple more questions for the employers. I wanted to ask each employer, how did you guys get into your industry or company? We'll start with Monica and then go to Louise.
Okay. I had no public safety background when I first found out about this job. I used to be a wedding coordinator and had nothing to do with public safety or had any idea about it. And I got into this by chance. My friend had told me about it and thought I'd do a good job with this type of work. And I applied, I took a test, I passed. Took a test, I passed, and now I'm here 13 years later. So mine was by accident, and most of our dispatchers here, that's pretty much how they found out about it. They weren't thinking about it. Someone told them about it, or they saw it at a job fair, not a virtual one like this that we're having now, but the old style, and applied and ended up loving it, and it turns into a profession for you.
And just so you know, we'll get back to the physical ones. I was trained in the physical job fair, so I echo that, Monica. Yeah, definitely the physical ones. They're great because also students get free swag. And,
right, I know. We usually have our giveaways. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to like it because I used to organize them. So any extra swag, they kind of turned into my giveaways for students when they come talk to me. So
right. Yeah.
I can't wait for that to come back. We also work with some baking employers, so we got some free samples of some really good food.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That's wonderful. Luis, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll get into my portion a bit, but one thing that Monica mentioned about her, her case, the whole in the dispatch is not something like they're kind of behind the scenes, and it's very similar to Smith, like for us being like a $1.5 billion company, I bet, probably none of the students here have heard of us, but you've heard of Google, you've heard of Amazon, you've heard of Apple, and all these other, tech companies that are building some type of hardware. So same, we operate in that type of that part of the supply chain that we're sort of behind the scenes as well. So when I've been with Smith for 7 years now, and all I knew back then was just like I wanted to kind of do business internationally, and I speak some Portuguese and Spanish, so I was like, oh, how can I use my language skills to develop a global customer base? So that was my mindset coming in, and 7 years later, I do have colleagues all over the world, and I do have customers all over the world. So that was kind of my drive to the job. And we're a very global company. And like, one thing on these slides, we have over 50 languages that are spoken, in our offices. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Luis. And I'm glad you mentioned that because at Mission College and a lot of other candidates outside of Mission College, a lot of them are ESL. And I think for those students or candidates, it's a benefit if they do speak another language, especially with different organizations, even government agencies, to connect with our community that not everybody speaks only English. So I think that's a benefit, and definitely I would say add that to your resume. And also when you're talking to employers, to mention that you do speak another language, because I echo what Luis is saying, is how when you do business, especially with a company like Smith, that's a global company, it just works in your benefit and maybe opens some more opportunities for you. Okay, this is a fun question that I like to ask both employers, and we'll start with you, Luis, and then go to Monica. Is that what is unique about your industry, organization, or even your office for your companies?
No, that's a great question. I think with Smith, I'm here, and I've been here for 7 years, and I'm still learning, a lot. You don't usually have the same day twice, because I right now, train and manage a sales team, but when you're in sales and trying to develop your own customer base, as you guys saw, we have such a broad customer range and customer base. So if you're dealing with customers in the medical industry, or like I mentioned, the automotive, or you're kind of like basic consumer electronics, the components that go inside those products are completely different. And because we really operate based on our customers' supply constraints. So for example, That was just actually an incident that happened at a factory in Japan for a manufacturer of some components about 2-3 weeks ago. And you know, that manufacturer can't supply anything to any of the companies that make any type of audio related equipment. So you know, we're then that top choice of a supplier. So this past 2 to 3 weeks have been very busy, you know, communicating with our colleagues overseas and all of that. So to me, what's kind of unique is just how you're always learning. You know, I never knew much about the audio industry, you know, and I've been at Smith for 7 years, and I've learned a lot the past 3 weeks just to help out our customers.
So you're saying there's a lot of potential for learning and growth within the organization.
Yeah, and honestly, the you know, you mentioned there earlier, Andrew, the more open you are to learning, and the quicker you know you learn and putting the effort there, the more successful you'll be in a sales role at Smith.
Awesome. Monica?
All right. I echo what Luis mentioned about learning and being open to learning. That's a really good trait also, and will help you progress through the training program here as a dispatcher, but also continue on with your career, because as I had mentioned, the technology is ever evolving, which I'm sure is in Luis's world as well. And so being able to adapt and change and learn, that is such a big asset for anybody to have, I think, in lots of different types of careers. And going back to the initial question about what is unique about our profession or industry, one fun thing that you heard mentioned in that video in the beginning of the presentation was a dispatcher saying that they delivered a baby over the phone. With EMD certification, if someone calls 911 and they're about to have a baby and they're not making it to the hospital in time, you could be delivering someone's baby over the phone and walk them through those steps. And hearing that first cry of a baby is amazing. You can, and what we do here is we give recognition for that. If that delivery happens over the phone and that dispatcher was the one that gave them those instructions on how to do it, we give them little, like it's a stork pin that they can wear on their uniform. And as recognition to say that they've delivered a baby, they can also be attributed CPR saves. So if they gave someone CPR, so compressions and respirations mouth to mouth, and they did it according to policy and that person survives, that save isn't only for those people that responded out, that save is also attributed to the dispatcher. So there is recognition and you are making a difference. And I think that is so unique, and people don't think about that part, that dispatchers make a huge difference in people's lives and could be seconds and matter of life and death.
Yeah, and again, Monica, it's amazing. I've never heard that someone delivered a child over the phone. That's the first time I heard of that. That's a wild story.
Yeah, I've delivered 2 babies over the phone.
Wow, there should be like a Guinness Book of World Record for that one, because that's amazing.
You can Google it. You'll hear baby calls a lot. You can just check the internet. You'll hear them.
I'm gonna look on YouTube. There's a lot of interesting things that you guys do on there that are amazing. And you talk about life and death, but SJ Fire, I mean, especially in California, you guys have been doing tremendous work keeping us safe. And then also bringing life into the world, like you said, a baby, or even saving a life with CPR. I mean, those are crucial skills that in a society we need, and definitely recruiting the next generation of dispatchers to, you know, maybe deliver that baby over the phone, or get that need for them to save a life. So I think that's awesome. And that's why I said I definitely commend you guys for all the work that you guys done, especially in this year where we had so much things that California as well as the nation had to deal with.
Yes. Yeah, and all the big fires in California. And one thing about this profession also is it's needed all across the nation. So not only in San Jose, everywhere there are dispatchers. And so you can learn something, and then if you needed to change your location, your profession can go with you. Not that we would want anybody to leave once you come to San Jose, but it is a good thing to have in that experience.
Yeah, what I liked about the fire department, I met some firemen because we have a fire department here at Mission College. you know, a fire academy program. And the fire department guys that I always deal with, they're so full of life, big smiles, real friendly guys. I bumped into them when I was having lunch in near our school, and we took pictures. I posted on Instagram. I said, "Do you mind guys taking a picture?" They go all around me, and they're just really, really cool guys. So I kind of echo what you're saying about family. How, you know, when you guys get into this industry, you guys are kind of like a brotherhood or a family where you guys all work together for a common goal, which I think is awesome.
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'm going to turn it over to my co-host Veronica. She had a few questions that she wanted to ask you guys as well. Veronica?
So I did want to take it back a little bit when you both mentioned that you have a training course right after the application process. So with everything going on right now with the pandemic, everything being virtual, what are the options that some applicants have in order to complete the training? Is there any option to do that remotely? Is there a certain amount of people that are coming in? Are there different shifts? We can go ahead and start with Luis and then Monica.
Yeah, no, one thing that I think Monica mentioned a few times is adaptability, right? I mean, after this year, I think it's one type of skill set that every individual want to have in companies, you know, because I mean, we had to figure it out a lot, you know. But to answer your question, Veronica, yeah, so right now, because we have a satellite sales office here in San Jose, it's a smaller you know, office, not physically, but employee wise. We work remotely until actually late September, and then we have been bringing people in on a schedule there, and just social distancing inside in the office, and you know, taking people's temperature. But if we were to bring anybody on board, there's a chance they could do their training remotely through Smith University, but they will probably be then brought into the office every day.
All right. So as a dispatcher, you are an essential worker. And so what we have done is we have made COVID accommodations for safety. So you would be coming and reporting to work physically in our building, and we would make sure to have all of our medical monitoring done, checking a fever. You would be filling out something saying that you do not have a list of symptoms. And then what we would do is we'd make sure to maintain our social distancing inside the classroom environment, along with inside of our control room. And we have special cleaning procedures and disinfectant. We have janitorial services that are cleaning all of our high touch surfaces. And when we are not maintaining our social distancing inside the control room or the classroom, we are making sure to wear our masks. So we do need to show up in person, and it's an important job to learn how to take a 911 call, to learn how to answer the phone for something you have no idea what's going to be on the other end. We need to have that done in person, and it's such an important, essential job. We need to have you here learning the equipment, and there is no way that we'd be able to have it done remotely, but we do make sure that it is a safe environment to learn and continue on after the training program.
Wonderful. Thank you, Monica and Luis. That was awesome. And then, so Veronica has one more question for Luis. I'll go ahead and let Veronica ask.
This one was in regards to the sales. And I think you may have answered this a little earlier, but may have been someone who came in a little later. As for a previous experience with sales, is there a certain industry that you're looking for that someone with their previous sales experience? Basically, I think I want to read this correctly. How many years of experience are you looking in a candidate, and sales in what industry is preferred?
No, that's a great question, Veronica. Yeah, so I mean, we have two different types of sales jobs posted right now. We have an SDR, which is a sales development rep. It's for someone a little, you know, greener, you know, not as much sales experience or customer service. And then the international account rep is someone who probably already had some previous sales experience in the past. I mean, the preference would be, obviously, if you worked with any type of, you know, hardware for electronics or electronic components, that's a huge plus, but we do not require any of that. If you've had any I mean, especially if you had cold calling experience, because we're inside sales, that's going to be a big part of your day-to-day. That's a big plus. But any customer service or type of inside or outside sales, it's always a plus. We do not require it, but again, it would help, to shorten that learning curve at that ramp up time. But the training will help you with all of that. So to answer your question, we are looking at any type of backgrounds and experiences. As for major, like in terms of what careers and what type of courses you're taking, it's pretty open as well. We have very, very diverse background in like I mentioned, everything literally, like from people from all over in terms of different countries, but also background in education as well.
Wow, thank you, Luis. We have another question. This one's for Monica. This one was from I think it's a Mission College student. So they're asking if we have any programs that go from dispatcher into firefighting.
Yes, I did see that there, and I just hit enter on that answer. But for everybody, we don't have a specific program that would do that, but we have had dispatchers here that have aspired to be firefighters, and they have been very successful here as dispatchers. And we were sad to see them go, but we are happy to hear them on the radio now because they are firefighters. So we have had people come from dispatch into our firefighting program.
Wonderful. And I think I could say for both employers, there are room for growth. I think we covered that earlier. If you start in one role and you're looking maybe to move into a different aspect of the industry within the company, it's a possibility, correct?
Yes, specifically for a dispatcher, you could promote to be a communications, you could turn into a communications training officer and help with the training program. If you're more into the technology aspect of it, you could promote into what we have called a senior position or a senior dispatcher, where you're like a room supervisor, which is like the equivalent to a captain on the firefighter engine. And then also into that technology portion of it, you could come and be an administrative senior and help with all of our programs and software, or come into my realm of training, recruitment, and quality assurance to train our newer dispatchers, or in operations and assist with our staffing and scheduling and everything that goes into the control room.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah,
I was gonna,
same. Sorry, Andrew. I was just gonna say same for Smith as well. In terms of that growth. Just kind of like progressing the sales career. Kind of expanding on that. Or if you want to become a sales manager or run an office, there's opportunities for that. But even within Smith, if you would, willing to relocate, like I mentioned, there's 3, global locations there that we have other job opportunities. Within, whether it's marketing, operations, supply chain. So definitely opportunities for growth.
Yeah, I mentioned before the session started how Smith & Associate, you guys are into everything. So yeah, if they start in one area of your business, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of different facets that can go into within Smith, as well as the SJ Fire, what's like I said, government agency, and they're in everything as well, just in a different capacity. Thank you guys. Do employers want to add anything else? We're almost at time, and I just wanted to give you guys time if you want to add any additional comments before we end this session. No? No,
just thank everybody for their time.
Awesome. I was going to ask I wanted to circle back with the employers. If you guys want to send me your PowerPoint presentations, just in case I get any candidates that wanted to see it. And I won't necessarily put it on the YouTube channel, but I'll have it just in case they email me and they want to look over what was said today, if that's okay. Otherwise, if you guys have any YouTube channels that you guys want me to promote, you guys can put it in the chat or send it to me through email, and I can add that to the YouTube channel's description of this video.
Great, thank you. I will do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send it over, Andrew. Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right, wonderful. Veronica, do you want to add anything before we end the session?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say thank you to the employers, you as well, Andrew, and everyone who joined us today. Also, everyone for being respectful, for everyone who was presenting, keeping their mics and cameras off as well, asking great questions. So thank you all for your time. Have a great weekend.
Yes, happy Friday to you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Andrew.
Have a great weekend.